Hello there, YouTube. I thought I would bring you a quick review of a book that I wasn't expecting to do a standalone review for, and that is Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. Now, I wasn't planning to make this into its own review because it's a tiny little novella. It's about 15,000 words long. The audiobook is only just over an hour. This is barely more than a TV show episode worth of content. Like, this is not a full-blown, 8 to 20 hour read that, most novels are. But I wanted to talk about this because, frankly, this is the single worst book I've ever read. And I've read some pretty bad stinkers in my time. This is the review I posted on Amazon, which will surely be deleted when they realise that I wasn't praising it. My review reads like this: a transparent race-baiting communist propaganda piece, disgustingly trite and deeply hateful of modern society, which it strawmans as an all-male, white supremacist, fascist splinter group responsible for all the world's ills. N.K. Jemisin is a vile, sexist, racist demagogue, and I will never read another thing written by her again. She is the epitome of the word scum, and her writing is a direct reflection of her disgusting political hate. I think that's a pretty apt description. So, if you're wanting me to summarise this, should you read or even listen to Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin? Should you fucking bollocks? Don't touch this piece of disgusting diatribe. It is not worth your time. That's all you need to hear. But for those who would rather hear me discuss this in a little bit more depth, I have a summary that I'd like to go over with you. So, this, by the way, is going to spoil the entire thing, but considering this is a flaming dog turd, you can't spoil it by describing the texture and stink of the fucking turd. So, here we go. You are a meat person thing in a biomechanical suit. You don't have any skin, but it doesn't really describe what you are, so you're just a human body without skin in some skin-tight biomechanical suit. That's kind of the impression I get. You are sent to the dead Earth. This is set in the future, and you are from a colony going back to Earth. You're going there to retrieve biological samples in order to fuel the cloning tech and anti-aging tech on your colony. And Earth has been the victim of an ecological disaster that wiped out the entire human race. The reward for completing your mission is that you will be allowed to have skin. They will generate skin for you, and you'll be able to enjoy all the normal biological pleasures of having skin. So far, not a bad setup. Don't worry, it's going to get terrible. The colony you're from is an all-male, white supremacist eugenics colony that is using this cloning tech and anti-aging tech to keep the elite alive, whilst sending the peasantry to just go and do their own thing, basically. Just to, do missions for, the glory of the master race, that kind of thing. They also decide to have the founders of this eugenics colony represented by a person with a traditionally British or stereotypically British accent, which just shows how much she fucking hates the British, because N.K. Jemisin is one of those people who has this anti-colonial opinion. Basically, she fucking hates Britain, she hates Western Europe, and she hates USA. Even though USA didn't have colonies, it was a colony, but she hates it all the same. When you arrive on Earth, you find that it's not dead. You're met with natives, and you are convinced to fabricate an emergency skin, which is something your biosuit can do. The problem is, the biosuit will create your emergency skin based on the parameters of the environment you're in. And because you landed in the tropics, it's going to make you into a black person. This does not cover the fact that if you've been cloned or built, through artificial means on this colony that is entirely white supremacist or male eugenics, then you are a Caucasian person. You cannot put an Afro-Negroid skin on a Euro-Caucasian body. It doesn't work. Our fucking bone structures are different. But N.K. Jemisin doesn't know that because she's an idiot. So, it turns out that, first of all, of course, it's made very clear that having black skin is a bad thing. Right? But it turns out the founders of the colony lied about the Earth being dead. The Earth is actually now a paradise because the minute the hyper-conservative, women-hating Nazis that made up that colony all got on a ship and fucked off, all the world's ills immediately went away. There was no fracturing of society. There were no individual political groups. Everyone loved each other. In fact, literally the second they left the fucking planet, all national borders were abolished. Eco policies were passed that reversed climate change pretty much instantly, and the entire world instituted a global communist utopia, which now everyone lives in, with weird stilted tree hut villages, which coincide with nature somehow without creating any pollution, because N.K. Jemisin is a fucking moron who lives with her head in the clouds. Then, with your newly formed black skin, and your sense of righteousness, really set up, with your righteous indignation dialed up to max, you get back aboard your ship in order to liberate the colony and start a revolution. Of course, don't forget, N.K. Jemisin makes a point of making sure that we know that Earth now has, the concept of gender is now choice-driven, because they made a point of asking about their gender. What gender do you prefer? Because that needs to be in. We need to make sure to pander to the trans lobby. And she also made a point of making it so the AI that was talking in the head was done by nanobots, so that an injection, because, we need to make sure that we get in the COVID vaccine allegory in here as well, so that an injection would get rid of the voice in the back of their head, so that there is legitimately a scene where the person who is recently just been described as having black skin and has the AI telling them that they're a mudblood person for having this emergency skin be black, is told to make a fist so that they can have an injection, and when the injection is given, said, there you go, you can't lead a revolution with the enemy's voice in your head. So whilst they have been told to stretch out their arm and make a fist, given an injection, they're then told to form a revolution. Could you get more obvious Black Lives Matter pandering in that one scene? It was one fucking paragraph, and it was so lacking in subtlety. You may as well have been wearing Dayglow orange to a fucking funeral. The race communist propaganda bullshit that this bitch puts forwards is disgusting, and I will never be reading another written word by this hateful cunt ever again. The fact is, N.K. Jemisin is already someone I despise. The speeches she's given when she's been given awards that she's never fucking earned and has only been given because she's black is, frankly, a shame on the entire publishing industry. Because she's a black woman, she gets special preferential treatment because some people are obsessed with this idea that we need to make up for some kind of perceived racism in the past. So find a black female author and give her every fucking award, just throw them at her face until she shuts the fuck up, and then can claim that we've somehow made reparations against the previous looked over authors of past generations, because apparently that's the way it works now. Apparently it doesn't matter if a white male author writes a better book. There's been too many white men who had awards in the past. We need to give it to the shitty author who happens to have the right colour skin, the correct shaped genitalia. That's the publishing industry. That's the awards industry that we've got the current. And you know what? If N.K. Jemisin, even though she was a hateful bitch, wrote decent fucking prose and actually had a decent narrative to write, I'd look over that book and I'd go, you know what, I can separate the art from the artist. But the fact is, all she apparently seems to be able to write is this painful, pathetic race communist propaganda shite, which she also writes in second person with this insane idea that she can brainwash her audience. It's very clear that she's attempted to brainwash her audience because she uses second person so that she can instill you into the story. So the AI in the story that's in the main character's head is talking directly to the main character, and then the people that they meet when they arrive on Earth are talking directly to the character. All of the story is dialogue. Those just dialogue. And it's all directed at you. But your lines are missing. It's assumed that you fill in the lines with the lines that N.K. Jemisin assumes you're going to. So you have to have the same opinion. You have to ascribe to yourself the lines and opinions and the reactions that she's already predetermined in her writing, which means that by the end of it, she's trying to make it so that you already ascribe those thoughts to yourself. It is so fucking transparent that it's sick. N.K. Jemisin is not only one of the worst authors writing today, she genuinely offends my sensibilities on a fundamental level. She is not an author, she is a fucking demagogue, and she should not be considered along the same lines as anyone who writes anything of even moderate quality. I will never be covering her again on this channel. Fuck that cunt. Thank you, and goodbye.